I done seen some grimy things, been in some grimy things that at that time, I did not think God was going to take me out of it. Some situations, I was like, God, how am I here in the club, like dancing? I ended up dancing because I had to pay rent. Wow. Oh my goodness. Carla Lewis is a bunch of stuff. I'm a native Detroiter, but I've been in Atlanta over 20 years. I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm a world traveler, I'm a minister, I'm an entrepreneur, but also I'm a child of God. I'm a worshiper. I love the word and I love learning. I love being able to learn more about life, people, the word, and how I can help others. And I'm a giver. I'm very compassionate. I love helping people. I was a hairstylist for many years. I owned a salon, flight attendant. I love traveling, so that's why I became a flight attendant. I love London, but my favorite place is Turks and Caicos. The place is beautiful. The vibes is beautiful. The water is beautiful. I just like the environment. And Turks and Caicos, I just feel like they love everyone and they embrace you. So I feel like that should be on your bucket list. Turks and Caicos, that's my number one spot. The west side of Detroit, I grew up in the hood, okay? I went to Redford High School, went to cosmetology school in Detroit. So I know how Detroit is. I ain't in the suburbs, on the outskirts, I'm in the city. But I would not change my upbringing. Some of it I may change a little bit, but it made me smart and wise, like street smarts. As I travel, the things that I learned in Detroit, I know what to look out for. I know how to watch my back. I know how not to get scammed. So Detroit taught me a lot of lessons and it taught me how to have resilience. I'm not going to use the word hustler because I don't believe I have to hustle as a child of God, but it gives me discipline to work towards goals and to make things happen. Oh, my childhood was amazing. Little bad experiences, but I had family that was amazing. My cousins were my best friends growing up. It was a gang of us. I had one aunt who had 12 children. And so when we got together, it was always a family reunion. We would get at Granny's house. She made KoolAid, sweet potato pie, and we were all deep in that house. I didn't really have outside best friends until I got maybe in high school because my best friends were my cousins and we were tight. So those were my memories. We would sing. And I remember I would be the one who, and I know this is what God has for me as far as purpose. You don't think about your purpose and things that you experienced growing up, but I remember singing in front of my family. Like I would sing, I would be the one, they let me sing, they let me dance, whatever. So I knew that was God developing me in that area at a long age. So I think that's what helps me with public speaking and ministering to people.
How would you sum up your high school years?
Oh, that's when it hit the fan. Lord have mercy. That's what I can say. Sum it up. That's when I got pregnant. That's when I began having encounters with guys, and that's when I started experiencing Detroit from being in the comforts of my mom's home. Going hanging out, just experience with so many teen pressures. I experienced trying to smoke weed, which did not work because I was like vain. I didn't like smoking my hair. And I feel like if I'm doing something, I don't want nobody to know what I'm doing. So I know weed was not for me. Okay. And we used to have a 18 and older club called a dancery in Detroit. And if you know, you know. The dancery is where a lot of stuff happened, and it was downtown Detroit. So we used to hang. That's where I met one of my boyfriends, where we had a strong relationship, and that relationship was tumultuous. He was in the street, as I could say. But yeah, dancery, hanging out Belle Isle. We would ride around, but we had after hours in Detroit too. So, after the club closed, which you shouldn't be at a club anyway, I was hanging out in the street. So that's how my teenage years went. And also, I did not complete high school because I was a teen mom. And I probably could have, but I just didn't. I was smart enough to, I just didn't. And then I ended up going to cosmetology school and obtaining my GED there. So that began my educational journey. So now, that's how I ended up owning a salon, but that's what prepared me for where I am today. Oh my God, Nish. I did not know what was going on with my body. I knew I was having the lady thing. I always call it the lady time. But I didn't understand when it didn't come. I knew I was having, I had sex a few times. I was very young, 13, 14. Then I got pregnant. I just didn't know what was going on with my body. And then, go around them aunties, them old aunties. She look like is you pregnant? Somebody, I heard it out of my peripheral, but I act like I didn't. And then when my mother found out, I know it broke her heart. And I think that's what kind of changed our relationship, because I kind of let her down maybe, or but she told me, you having that baby. Everybody was like, you don't need to be having no baby. She's like, you gonna have this baby. And I did. So, and my daughter's father was older than me. He was 19. So it was like, I shouldn't have been messing with him anyway. But yeah, that's how that went. You fast. They always say that, but it's a lot of young children who are having sex, they just don't get caught. Or they're curious. I can say that's one of the times that even if you're not doing it and you're taught not to do it, because that was my thing. In my time, it wasn't, you don't ask questions, you don't talk about it. Now you have sex education or whatever, but it was like I was confused and I couldn't understand the emotions I was having in my body, those type of urges, but it was just kind of challenging, and I had nobody I could talk to kind of walk me through how to do what I wanted to do or not to do. Okay, birth control. Don't do it because this is what happened. Don't do it because you could get pregnant. Don't do it because it's a soul tie attached with it. Don't do it because you can't get your virginity back once you give it away. You give it away, you cannot get that innocence back. And I wish somebody would have told me that. Yeah. God was always there. I just didn't tap into him because my aunt was the one who took us to church. So I sang in the choir. We were at Living Word Christian Church. Shout out to Detroit, Living Word Christian Church. Still there on 6 Mile and Schaefer. We did everything in the church. And I believe God was preparing me to snatch me out of that, because I always went to church, went to the altar. And during that time, the church was sending me to piano lessons. Now, if anybody know about learning how to play the piano or instrument, it takes a lot of discipline and a lot of time. I ain't had time for it. Okay. I was like, my friends hanging out, my friends doing this, they doing stuff in the summer. You want me to sit in here with this lady and learn how to play the piano? So they were shaping me to play the piano for the church. And I just wasn't there. That could have, I believe, if I stayed on that path, it would have spared me from becoming a teen mom. But being as I don't think I had enough encouragement in that area either, or saying, hey, this is what God has for you. Go ahead and do what God has.
So if the 15-year-old you came and pulled up a chair right beside you, what would you say to her?
Carla, you are enough. You don't have to settle. You don't have to believe what people say about you. And you are gifted. You are so gifted. Let those gifts ring out and be who you are. You're beautiful and you love people, and don't let your mistakes hold you back. Other people told me they love me. But as far as in my home, I can't say I heard that till I got older. And also, I don't know if that's what I thought I needed or I was looking for, you know. And then beautiful, a lot of people will say, "You pretty, you so pretty." And back then too, let me throw this out here. I was a thick girl. I was slim, but I was shapely. Like all the girls buy and pay for now. I was considered fat during that time. And I thought something was wrong with me because I was developed, but I wasn't overly developed. And also I was brown skinned. So a lot of guys would say, "Oh, you're so pretty to be brown skinned." What does that mean? I'm pretty, period. You're beautiful. So I needed that affirmation from somebody to say, "You know what, Carla, you're so pretty or you're beautiful." But I didn't hear that. And I really couldn't say I saw that in me. I don't care if I got my hair done because I was into beauty. That was another thing. I loved hair. I started coloring my hair. My mother didn't have money for hair color. I would use KoolAid. This was the cheap way to color your hair back in the day. Everybody was doing it. It would get bright red quick. It wasn't as damaging, but your hair was dry from that KoolAid. Okay, but I would be KoolAid in my hair. So that was my first things that I felt like that made me beautiful, coloring my hair, doing my hair, and I started feeling confident. I think hair, and that made me more confident with how I looked or how I thought I looked. Yeah.
KoolAid.
KoolAid, yeah.
Did it smell like KoolAid?
It wasn't no smell because you rinsed it, but it was like it was heavy. It wasn't like the color we use now. But honey, we was KoolAid in the red, orange. Yeah. I had to do what I had to do. That put me in grind mode. I had to grind. And can you imagine a 14-year-old person thinking about grinding? You have to shift totally from that teenage mindset to an adult just like that. You got to figure out how I'm going to provide, how I'm going to get out of here, how I'm going to get my own place, how we going to do this, how I'm going to do that. But I got put out. My mother put me out. My mother would put me out. So, disclaimer, Mom, you still alive, and I'm going to say it. My mom cussed me out. Now, I'm not saying I was right when she cussed me out, okay? But I got put out. My sister would tell you, she'd be like, "You always got put out." So my mother would tell me she would keep my child, that I had to leave, but my daughter had to stay. And I feel like that was the hardest thing for me because I wanted to be a mom and I didn't know how. And then I feel like that was kind of stolen from me for a while because I couldn't take her with me because I ain't had nothing. And then I wanted her to have the best. So as I think about it, I kind of get choked up about it because I feel like it was years taken from me, because I couldn't take her with me and I couldn't provide for her. So then when I was able to provide, I got my own place. And back then, a lot of girls, they were having kids, they were on aid. I didn't want to be on aid. I didn't want to be in the projects. I didn't want to do that. My mother was living in the projects. I hated living there. I mean, I had good experiences, but I just felt like I seen so much there. And some of my good friends, we still friends today. We came from there, but we seen a lot. So I personally feel like I didn't know how to be a parent. You can't say you know how to be a parent. And I didn't have that guidance. It was just like, okay, you're not going to be the parent. You're not going to be the parent. You don't know what you're doing. I know what I'm doing. So I don't know if my daughter feels some kind of way about that, but I explained to her as she got older, the things that happened and why I couldn't be there. So I started traveling. That's what kind of started me to traveling at a young age. I have friends who sold drugs. I'm just going to be straight up, and they would go out of town. So I would go out of town. I had to do something. I was like, how am I going to do this? I ain't got no. I started working at McDonald's. I was just trying to find. I'm like, I'm 15, 16. I'm trying to find my way. How do I find my way? How do I make money to take care of myself and a child and my sister? So my sister, she moved with me when I left. My sister, she had a child, but she was maybe like 16 or whatever. She moved with me. So I had the responsibility when I finally moved and got myself stable. And at 19, I had my son. So I was a little in better position. I was in cosmetology school, whatever. And I got grants from school. So that helped me. Education saved my life. That is the cut. You got to get an education. If you're trying to figure it out and you ain't blessed with no bag from your family, you got to get an education. It saved my life. I ended up taking care of my sister, helping my sister with her son, my son, and my daughter. So during my teenage years, after I got 16, like 16, 17 on, that was my life. Always, and I still feel like I'm in that zone of helping and taking care of people.
Wow.
My testimony is dope and grimy, you understand? You looking at me now, you thinking I got it together. I did not have it together. And God had to be on my side, and I did not know what to do. But sometimes when I would go to church, I would go to the altar and I cry. And I remember Pastor Ginyard, he prayed over me. My cousin Dawn, she would go to church and we go to the altar and we pray. Now, I ain't say I ain't go back to the club after that because I ain't have it together. But I knew John 3:16. Don't take it lightly when you take kids to church and they learn these Easter scriptures. Because the one scripture that stuck with me is John 3:16. If I didn't know nothing else, I knew for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, for whosoever believed in him shall not perish, but shall have everlasting life. And when I had my come to Jesus meeting, like I tell my children, I remember that God did that for me. I've been in some I've seen some grimy things, been in some grimy things that at that time, I did not think God was going to take me out of it. Some situations, I was like, God, how am I here in the club, like dancing? I ended up dancing because I had to pay rent. My sister, she ain't had no money. You know what I'm saying? And what was crazy and stupid at the same time, the devil will trick you out of your purpose. I was in hair school and I met a girl. I'm not going to say her name, who was dancing. And she said, girl, you should come with me. Now, we're in hair school. Only thing I do is get out of hair school. I'm good. You should come with me. And that's how that road began. Now, I made a lot of money. I was good at, let me tell you something. I was good at being in the world and I was good at serving the Lord. But the difference is what I gave up, what I had to sacrifice. See, like I said, all those tricks leading up to we were talking about when I was younger, if I played the piano. God was showing me, he was showing me his love then. Hey, Carla, play this piano. Pray for the Lord. Nope, I want to be out here. Yeah, you got to watch what you put in your ear gates and your kids put in their eye gates because they'll be attracted to the world. Then I'm in school. See how the devil tried to take my life? He said, I'm going to take it. Let me steal you. You ain't going to just go ahead and do this. Now I graduated, but it helped me graduate from school. I did graduate. But guess what I did? I ain't getting no salon or working no salon. I'm making too much money. I'm having parties. Sometimes I'm making a quick $1,000. What? I ain't doing no hair. But then guess what? God said, okay, you keep doing this. Let me show you something. I got sick. I got the flu. I thought I was going to die. You got one time to show me I'm about to die, and I am converting. And I was in my room before I even went to church. We were going to Great Ebenezer. My sister was going to Great Ebenezer. And I knew, see, you got to have a come to Jesus before you go to church meeting, before you go to church. God already talking to your heart. This is if you're going to come when you get there. And I got on my knees. I said, Lord, save me. I knew that was the way. I didn't know all the words, but I knew that I wanted to be saved and I didn't want to die. I didn't want to die. I didn't want to go to hell. And after that, instantly went to church, went to the altar, because our bishop called you out. Hey, you saved? Went to the altar. I got one girl from that church and did her hair. And it changed my life. Kim Gillings, I love you. You know, I always tell you this. She had me do everybody hair, and that she had influence. That one hairstyle was one sew-in. Look, I ain't know a whole lot of sew-ins, and back then there wasn't a lot of variations of weave. That one style, everybody wanted it. I was doing hair in my kitchen. We had a little two bedroom house that I was staying there with my children, and from that point on, it was up. It was up. I didn't go back. God showed me where sin was in those clubs. It was like I saw the smoke. I said, this is hell. See, your mind got to be transformed. He said, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. He showed me what was in that place, the sin, the smoke, the devastation, all that. He showed it to me. And I never went back. I said, Lord, I got to trust you, because this is all I got. I ain't got nothing. This is how I feed my family. And Kim, that was it. It was up. I got my salon, everything from that one curl. I wish I brought the picture, because I still had an ad when I started doing the ads. It was little curly hair. Hair wasn't even that expensive. But God will do it. He has a plan and a purpose for all of us. It's if we're going to go this way or that way. Is we going to go this way. It ain't no in between. Because if you're in between, you're lukewarm. This way or that. And once I chose the right way, I just been up. And not saying I was perfect, but I knew how to have a relationship. And each year and each couple years, it was glory to glory, and my life changed forever.
It is dope.
And grimy. I'm not kidding. And I'm not afraid to be transparent, because it's somebody who's in this situation. It's somebody who's thinking that it's no hope. You know, drugs. I done been with drug. Detroit is known for drug dealers. I wanted the guys with the money. I wasn't dealing with no broke guy. I'm like, oh, he got this. That's what I was attracted to, because I thought this was how I'm gonna get out. This how I'm gonna get out.
Mm-hmm. So when people hear a story, a teen mom, a dancer, and now a faithful churchgoer, what's the first thing they get wrong about you?
That I ain't been through nothing. Yep, that's it. But I just wish I didn't go through some of it. I could have been spared from a lot, because there's a lot of pain to go with it.
Finish your sentence. My testimony is dope because
I've learned. I don't think it's effective if you don't learn. I feel like you just went through an experience. But when you have something where you learn from, you're able to transform others. So that's why it's dope, because I know somebody will hear this and be like, whoa, that I didn't know, or I didn't think that was possible.
favorite scripture or quote?
From the songwriter, William Murphy, God is for me, I have the victory. I just had to know that he's for me and he's with me in everything. In spite of what it looked like, somebody is for me.
What song do you have on repeat right now?
It's Erica Campbell, Thank You. Because that whole I Love You project she did is amazing. But that song, Thank You, it's just, I'm in such a season of gratitude, because I've seen things transform time and time again. And I know that it didn't have to be that way. It could have been another way. It didn't have to turn out on the good side. So an ingrate is not thankful. I'm not an ingrate.
What's one thing you're still believing God for today?
Just to take me where I cannot see myself physically going. Just blow my mind. Do something where I look back and be like, oh my God, this happened. So that's where I'm kind of at with that.
If you had 30 seconds to speak to someone who may be struggling with their faith, they might not even believe in God. The church might have failed them before.
I would say, in spite of what it looks like and in spite of where you are, things can change. They don't remain the same. It's a season for everything. And every challenge, it can be a vehicle for a blessing. Every situation that you think, even the lowest, when you're at your lowest point, if you look up, it could change. And I am a living witness again. I'm in my daughter's salon right now. And who would have thought, being a teenage mom, that this was how it would turn out for my child? Because the odds were against me. And a lot of people were saying, oh, this is what you're going to be. They think once you have one kid or two kids, that's the end. You just going to keep having kids and you're not going to be successful. But my child followed in that. I was able to promote a generational blessing by showing her a gift that she got natural. And my granddaughter works here as well, her daughter. So that's the blessing for me.
That's dope.
Well, Nisha, I'm working on everything. I'm working on everything. So we just had the event, I Love Myself, that was in College Park. We're going to do a Zoom with that as well as the men's version, and we're going to do one in Detroit. So you can follow me. And also I have a social media presence. I do a lot of interviews. So Nisha was one of my interviews. I'm going to try to dig that interview up when she was doing her Blessed app, and her testimony is dope. I represented her shirt, the first version. I had the blue. I think I got my blue and red. I don't even know how I still got that shirt because that was years ago. But yeah, I do interviews as well as I promote Kingdom Business online. So Carla Lewis Live, that's me, and that's what I do. So you can follow me on all social media handles: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. I don't care for anybody else, you had to put that.
Yeah.
Because it is.